Assalamu alaikum. Last we spoke about Tesla stock, I gave it a 9 out of 10 halalness rating, wherein 10 meant that it was absolutely halal and 1 meant it was absolutely haram. Since then, Tesla has come out with its first quarterly report for 2020, so I think it's a good time to review my halalness rating for Tesla stock. And also, I'm going to talk briefly about whether I think Tesla is a good buy or not. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so starting as we mentioned with Tesla's halalness rating, the first question one should ask when they're trying to ascertain the halalness rating of a particular company is, where does this company get its revenue from? If we look at Tesla's revenue breakdown from Q1 of 2020, we see that 82% of their revenue comes from automotive sales, 4% comes from automotive leasing, and I made a video about leasing previously. If you'd like, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. Basically, my stance on leasing is that they're simply long-term rental contracts, and I see nothing wrong with them from an Islamic perspective. 5% of Tesla's revenue comes from energy generation and storage, and then the remaining 9% comes from something called services and other. Now, if you're wondering what services and other refers to, well, according to their filing with the SEC, services and other primarily refers to their sale of their used cars, basically. So from the revenue breakdown we just went over, I can see no real red flags as it relates to the halalness of Tesla's business and therefore its stock. Now, moving on to the matter of interest and how much Tesla either receives or pays in interest. It's important here to remember that debt is not prohibited in Islam. It is interest that is prohibited, and therefore it is interest that we will focus our attention on when we're analyzing the halalness of Tesla. According to Tesla's most recent filing, they received $10 million in interest income and they paid $169 million in interest expenses. Now, these numbers alone may seem large, however, you have to put them in the context of the size of the company. So for instance, Tesla's interest income of $10 million, when you compare it to Tesla's revenue of around $6 billion during the same period, it turns out that the interest income of Tesla is less than 1%. In fact, it is closer to 0.17%. So a very, very small amount of their revenue comes from interest income. As for its interest expense of $169 million, when you compare it to the overall expenses of the business, it's less than 3% of the overall expenses of the business. Accordingly, I am comfortable saying that dealing with interest, whether it's paying interest or receiving interest, is not a key component of Tesla's business. So in light of what I just went over, I feel comfortable keeping my halalness rating at 9 out of 10 for Tesla stock, especially in light of the positive impact that the Tesla business is having in terms of accelerating humanity's transition to sustainable energy sources. Now let's move on to talk about whether Tesla is a good investment just from a strictly financial perspective. So Elon Musk on Friday tweeted out that he thought that Tesla's stock price was too high, which caused many Tesla stockholders to feel a lot like this guy.
What the hell was that?
And frankly, I can sympathize with their feelings. However, my personal opinion is that he made this tweet just to prove that he was not motivated by financial gain when he insisted in the next couple of tweets to give people back, quote, their freedom, referring here to the lockdowns that have been happening all across the United States, which he is against. Now, this is all fine and dandy in my opinion if you want to prove that you're not motivated by money, but if you're Elon, you need to realize that when you make these tweets, you're not just sacrificing your own wealth, but you're also sacrificing the wealth of other investors who believed in you and believed in your company. So, not cool, dude. Now, in light of this controversy, I think the question that naturally suggests itself is Tesla truly overvalued? And my personal opinion is that no, it's not. The reason I think that it's not overvalued is because, well, take Amazon's valuation, for example. And I think that perhaps the most appropriate valuation to compare Tesla against is Amazon's valuation, since both companies have dominant, almost uncontested leads in multi-trillion-dollar industries. In the case of Tesla, electric transport, energy generation and storage, and in the case of Amazon, online sales of retail products to consumers. If you look at the two companies' respective price-to-sales ratios, Amazon is at 4.1. Tesla is at 5.08. So price to sales simply takes the price that the company is being traded at, divides it by the sales that the company has. So the higher the price to sales ratio, the more expensive the company, the lower, the less expensive the company is. Amazon is at 4.1, Tesla is at 5.08. So Tesla is a bit more expensive, just looking at the price to sales ratio. But when you factor in the fact that Tesla is forecasted to grow earnings about 57% annually over the next 3 years, compared with Amazon's 38%, the price seems rather reasonable. Additionally, when you dive into the stunning progress that Tesla has been making recently, the price of Tesla stock seems even more palatable. So take their results from the most recent quarter, for example. Despite the coronavirus, Q1 revenue increased by 32% year over year. The company was profitable while analysts were expecting a loss. Gross profit margins for Tesla improved in Q1 2020 compared with Q3 and Q4 of 2019, even with less deliveries. Energy storage deployment rose 14%. Tesla had the best Q1 for deliveries ever, and it has $8 billion in cash as reserve. So in light of all of this, I still think that Tesla is one of the most compelling long-term investment opportunities on the market today, even at its current price. Now, having said this, unemployment in the United States is approaching 30%, and it's not much better in other places of the world. And the state of the general economy, frankly, just stinks right now. Accordingly, I would not be surprised for stock prices in general, including Tesla's, to experience heavy pressure downwards in the coming months. Now, this may be a great opportunity for those people who feel like they missed the Tesla boat to pick up a few shares at discount if this actually happens. Keep your eyes peeled for such opportunities. Now, remember, you should never invest money that you can't afford to lose. Make sure that you're doing your due diligence before you make an investment decision. I'm not your investment advisor. This is not investment advice. If you're looking to get started with investing and you live in the United States, I've been recommending M1 Finance. If you want to try out M1 Finance and you'd like to support the channel in the process, then do use the link in the description below. If you live in the United States and you're looking for halal funding, check out fundmebff.com, the company I started that's providing halal, interest-free funding that you can use for basically anything. Alternatively, if you earn more than $200,000 annually and you're looking for an investment that has outperformed the major asset classes in terms of the risk-adjusted return for the last 3 years, then go to fundmebff.com and apply to become an investor. I hope you found this video beneficial, and if you did, I kindly ask that you leave a like, subscribe for more content. Until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.